Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle United 1. Definitely a point gained rather than any lost, given the performance wasn't great. But on reflection, Graeme Jones had 3 days to work with these players. It's not going to change overnight. This is the review. Hi everybody, I'm Paul back again and just reviewing yesterday's match between Crystal Palace and Newcastle United in the Premier League at Selhurst Park. And when that team sheet came out, there was a lot of fans on social media a little bit confused, a little bit angry in a way, because they thought that there might be some better changes that Graeme Jones would make to the side than what he actually did, including myself. I was a little disappointed with the lineup, I have to say, I've got to be honest. But on reflection, I wanted to do this video last night, but then I thought, no, I'll watch the game, a little bit highlights again and stuff like that, and just get a true reflection of the game, because during the watch along with John, I was very critical, to be honest, and said that, nothing's really changed, etc., etc. But to be fair to Graeme Jones, what could he do in the time he had available to change that team or the players available to him? He did try something different. And at the end of the day, I genuinely think it's a point gained than anything lost. To come away from Crystal Palace with a point, given how we've played away from home, I think is a bonus. I really do. And listening to Graeme Jones after the game, he spoke very well, as usual. And he does have a plan in process, however long that may be before we announce a new manager, which I'll come on to. But the performance on the pitch wasn't great. I have to say, we sat back a lot again. We let Palace have a lot of the ball. The stats at half-time were just unbelievable. I think we had 29% possession in the first half. Palace were on top. There was no doubt about that. They were playing well enough to score a few goals in that first half. We could have been behind, but, and a big but here, we weren't. We weren't behind. We battled on, and, second half, yes, Palace took the lead. Poor defending, in my opinion. The cross comes across, and, there's 2 Newcastle United defenders there, get out-muscled by Benteke, and he heads into the bottom corner of the net. And then there should have been 2-0 up, of course, when Benteke went through one-on-one and completely missed the goal. That's Benteke in a nutshell. He caused us a lot of problems yesterday. However, he didn't put the ball in the back of the net as many times as he should have. Yes, he scored again late on from a corner, but that was ruled out for VAR, and rightly so in my opinion, because Clark was pulled away from Benteke and pulled to the floor. So it was well spotted by VAR on that chance there. So we got away with a one there, but I have to say, Callum Wilson, I mean, what would we do without this kid? There was nothing there for him yesterday. The goal, it wasn't even a half chance, was it? It was just one of those strikers, optimistic goals, and it was a fantastic overhead kick right into the top corner. Brilliant goal. Gareth Southgate, by the way, take note. Take note of a striker that doesn't need many chances, doesn't even need a half chance to score a wonder goal like that. Now, England have got lots of strikers available, but Callum Wilson, when he's on his game and he's fit, is absolutely deadly. He is a class striker. We'd be a bit lost without him. There was some performances yesterday that again let me down. I thought ASM was poor again yesterday, but come on, he can't be great every game. He is one of these players that just cannot possibly perform week in, week out. He's going to have his bad games. And unfortunately, yesterday was one. He just couldn't get into the game, really. No dazzling runs or anything like that. A couple of his passes were, there was one where he could have played Callum Wilson in the first half, and unfortunately, for some reason, overhit it. I don't understand how he overhit it. It could have just a simple pass, played Callum Wilson in, and a goal is scored. But nevertheless, the team he put out, strange in my opinion, but there was some decent performances in there. I thought the defenders played very well, given that, Palace had a lot of the ball. Darlow didn't really have to make any, unbelievable saves, if you think about it. We kept them at bay quite a lot. I thought Kraft did okay in the middle. I've got no complaints about Emil Kraft yesterday. Clark for me is still a bit of a moot point. I don't get it. I don't think he's playing very well this season. Lascelles did okay. He's still not my guy in the centre of defence, to be honest. I think, Federico Fernandez and Shah for me are the better defenders. And Shah certainly bringing the ball out of defence. We don't have a ball-playing centre-back in there at the minute who is willing to get on the ball, bring it out, and feed it up to our attacking players, like Fabian Shah can do. So, that for me, we possibly need to look at. But like I said earlier on, Graeme Jones has had 3 days with this team. And, I think the same with when Steve Bruce got sacked. We're expecting a lot too soon. Very, very soon, in my opinion. And, I was very hard on the team yesterday, but on reflection, I kind of look back and think, yeah, we got a point, we did okay. It wasn't the most brilliant performance in the world, but we came away from Selhurst Park with a point. I know we still have no win on the board, but we didn't lose the game, because a lot of us were expecting us to lose the game, including pundits and fans alike, because, hell, we've still got the same players that we had under Steve Bruce. Nothing is going to change dramatically overnight, and that is the main thing for me. But some of the performances just said to me yesterday that we really, really do need some players in, because we know that some of those players on that pitch are not good enough and need to be moved on. They're just frankly not at the races. It was a bit of a surprise seeing Miggy on the bench. He came on second half, did okay. He definitely was going a lot more forward than backwards yesterday, which was good to see when he came on. Joe Linton came on. Again, some of his passing was terrible. He played Miggy through once, just a nice little ball through to give Miggy time to get a cross in, but it was overhit again. Miggy did well to win the corner from that. These are just little things that just need ironing out. Now, it'll be interesting to see, given a full week of training, what Graeme Jones will do for the Chelsea game if he's still in charge. Of course, we have the managerial situation going on at the moment, which we don't know. A lot of reports were saying Fonseca had literally agreed. But then we've had reports saying Mark Overmars has been spoken to. He is very keen on coming to Newcastle, but he might want to bring Ten Hag with him. So we have to be patient when it comes to the manager front. We've got to be patient, but at the same time, we kind of need clarity on this. We kind of need somebody in that's going to steady this ship and try and pull us away from the relegation zone, because the longer this goes on, the longer we are in trouble. We all know it's very, very hard to play catch-up in the Premier League. Fulham almost did it last season with us, but they put that much into it, they fell away. And we can't afford to be in that position come April, May next year. So I think with regards to bringing people in January, we have to be very sensible about it. A lot of players won't come if we're still in this position. That's obvious. They won't want to be relegated. So we have that to deal with as well. But I think, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. They are working away, making sure that they get the right men in, for a director of football, for a manager, and then they can look at the current crop of players that we've got, see who we need, who we don't need. They'll look back on previous videos, no doubt about that, of matches and seeing who's performing and who's not, who deserves opportunities. Now, for me, I'd love to see Elliot Anderson come into the fold. He hasn't been involved since Arsenal in the FA Cup last season. I think he is a definite option moving forward. I would love to see him given the chance in front of a few of our first team players at the minute who aren't performing. But, we've got to balance the risk, here, because we can't take too many risks, especially until January. We've got to try and change a few little things in order for us to start picking up points. So Graeme Jones, for me, spoke brilliantly before the game. He spoke brilliantly afterwards. Very, very passionate, loves the club, and he will not want to see us in this situation. I think his substitutions yesterday were good. He made them when he had to make them, and he made them in a positive way. So definitely no criticism about him about the substitutes like we've had in the past. And what I liked yesterday is he played the players who he felt had done well in training. And that was what it was all about. He felt that they'd done well in training, so they should be given an opportunity in the first team. Unlike our previous manager, who always played his favourites. You could literally write on a book who his favourites were, and they would be in the starting lineup. There was no doubt about that. But we gave it a go, guys, yesterday. Second half was a lot better than the first. There's no doubt about that. But we had a spell when we scored, 10-minute spell after that where we were really starting to get on top of the game, and I felt we could go on and win it. Palace regrouped. and came back at us late on in the second half. So, we did well to come away with a point at the end of the day, and I'm really pleased with the point. Yes, we're still looking for that elusive win, but at the end of the day, we got a point from it, and it's a point gained rather than a point lost for me. Because we could have lost that game had the VAR decision gone against us, had Benteke scored one of his numerous opportunities, especially the one-on-one. He should have scored that, but he didn't. And that's now in the history books. Again, the support down there was incredible yesterday. I would have loved to have been there, but we know what Palace is like with away tickets. There's only 1,000 away tickets sold. Very disappointing for me that they give a tiny part of the ground to away fans, but that's the way it is. Fantastic support, singing all the way through, as Newcastle fans normally do, and a great reaction at the end. They kept on singing at the end. I watched a couple of match day vlogs, from inside the ground at the end there, and the fans still singing away. But we know what we're like as fans. We are the best in the world, and we always will be. The one disappointment, obviously, about yesterday was the flag in the Crystal Palace end. I think that was in very, very bad taste. I know that some people have said that the Premier League are looking at it, but what will they realistically do about it? Absolutely naff all. We know that. They'll say they're looking at it, but nothing will come of it. That's a certainty. So I was disappointed with that because a lot of Palace fans that I've spoken to have actually been really pleased for the Newcastle fans, given the crap we've put up with for 15 years. But it just goes to show you get the odd few, and the flag was in very bad taste, unfortunately. But that's what we've got to expect now as Newcastle United. We are going to be there as a target for a lot of opposition fans and opposition teams. No doubt in my mind that the Premier League wants to see us go down after the takeover. We have got to do everything in our power to avoid that, which is why I think some stability is needed going forward. But at the end of the day, like I said, I was a little bit harsh yesterday. I think during the watch-along, on reflection, I'm really pleased with the result. And I'm really excited to see what Graeme Jones can do this week, building up to the Chelsea game, which is going to be tough, guys. I mean, it's 7-0 win over Norwich. I'm not really going into that game expecting anything. So if we get anything from the game, it is a massive bonus. But we know we tend to step it up against these kind of teams, so we never know what might happen. Shows coming up. We've got Monday night, of course, is the Four Horsemen. So join me, Barry, Peter and John. We'll be discussing the Crystal Palace game, looking forward to the Chelsea game, and, of course, discussion managers, directors of footballs as well. So if you want to start your week off with 2 hours of banter, laughter, and a great show, come and join us for that at 8 o'clock. And then, of course, on Tuesday night, the Newcastle United Fan Forum. That is really becoming more and more popular, which is brilliant. More and more people coming on, discussing Newcastle United. And it's very... I like the way it's very positive. We try and build on what we've already got at Newcastle United, and certainly the positivity on the fan forum is getting there. And it's nice to be positive on Newcastle United now rather than looking back in misery. But if you have enjoyed the video, guys, please don't forget to hit that like button and help me build the channel even further. If you like what you see and you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. A lot of people are watching the videos but not subscribing, so please do hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything to do that. And obviously, if you hit the notification bell, you'll be notified of any further uploads or live shows that we do. But thank you very much for watching the review. It's a point gained for me rather than a point lost, and we move forward now with Graeme Jones temporarily and see what happens in the next week or so. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care.